All right, I'm just checking that we're actually live. Bear with me. It's been resetting. There it goes. Okay, so now it's resetting. All right, so I'm just going to start with a bit of a gap from now on. My lives are showing live and then it resets, so I'm not quite sure what's happening there. So, hi meditation nerds. So I'm sorry I haven't gone live for a bit. I've been grappling with how I want this channel to grow and elevate what I really want to share on this channel, how I want to speak about sensitive topics, the darker aspects of certain parts of it. So there are a couple things that I wanted to kind of highlight and talk about and just set some kind of foundational ethos that we can all agree on. Um, Honestly, it feels a little bit weird to be saying this because I feel like I've done a similar live before where I've pivoted and changed. So, kind of highlighting just how meditative practices can lead us in different directions multiple times and it can feel weird. So, if you've ever had a similar experience, welcome. You're in the right place. So, full transparency, I'm a total mess sometimes, just trying to figure it out in case that wasn't abundantly clear at this point. But again, that's kind of the point, right? That's been my experience with meditation. And that's something that I don't really see a lot in other meditative forms. So that's kind of why I was struggling with if this channel should even exist at this point, because I'm not like the other channels, the big one being the avatar. It glitches out a lot. I don't have beautiful backgrounds. My avatar is a pretty basic avatar. She can only do basic stuff. So I've been grappling with whether or not to continue with the channel. So let's dive in a little bit to my overall goals for the channel and then just to lay out some shared foundational understandings of where I'm coming from, especially when we start to wade into the sensitive topics, the harmful facts related to meditation's history. Because let's face it, we can't move forward if we can't look honestly at where we've come from, if we can't speak about the shady stuff that's gone on, that we can't possibly do better if we're not willing to look at where we dropped the ball, where we chunked it, where we've lost our way, where we've been manipulated, how meditation has been used against us, and all of these different aspects that are a part of the beautiful mosaic of meditation, which, in my opinion, is meant to be a form of elevation, not spiritual bypassing, not blindness, not numbness, right? That doesn't help anybody. It defeats the purpose of the practice itself. And meditation is absolutely, excuse me, a lifeline for me. So, in that spirit, I kind of wanted to set some foundational markers, largely for myself, to help me when I feel like I'm not quite sure how to take this meditation channel with me when I veer off, when I find meditation in odd places, which I will be sharing with you in the next live. And they may seem tangentially connected, but to me it's a way to see meditation in all different aspects of my life, in literature that I read, in different experiences that I have, because meditation, again, in my opinion, should be found everywhere. It should be a living, breathing practice. It's adaptive, it's changing within where you are, where you're coming from. So, just to circle back to the history aspect, because I feel like it's important, you may have heard, or you may already know, those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. Pretty sure I paraphrased or dismantled that quote, but you get what I'm saying, hopefully. Okay, with that in mind, I wrote this little outline of an ethos that my intention for it is for it to grow and expand, to include more, because from where I am right now, it's expansive. Yes, I do acknowledge that there are blind spots, there are missing pieces, there are aspects I've never thought of or have yet to see. Okay, so this is meant to be a living, breathing, evolving expansion. Okay, it's meant to elevate as we elevate. So think of it as a shared constitution for this weird, wonderful little corner of the internet. And it's the heart of what we're doing here. I don't want it to be specific to one little slice. I want to be able to share the odd ways that I find meditation, the weird places where I'm reminded of how my meditation has taken shape. The practice itself has grown or shrunk in some regards, where practices that originally helped no longer really do much. So I let them go. But there are little nooks where I'll still use them because I find they're still applicable, that type of thing. So let me dive into a couple of key points that I would like to return to. And I feel like this is important to do as a standalone video because of the deeper issues that I'm going to be discussing. And yes, I know I've said that for a little bit. I'm kind of terrified to speak to it because it does dive into sensitive topics, and I know I have blind spots. So my biggest concern is speaking to it with humor, compassion, and an understanding, excuse me, and an awareness that I have massive blind spots, right? I'm coming from this from a very limited, privileged place. And I want to make sure that I'm stating unequivocally that I'm aware that my awareness is still expanding. Aware my awareness. Okay, kind of negates the argument. So this is not a space for answers. If you find them, wonderful. Overall, this space is meant to be for exploration. It's for a deepening of understanding. It's a way to connect to ourselves and the world and our practice as an organic experience that is always evolving. And let's be real, if you were looking for answers, you probably wouldn't start with a stranger on the internet who uses an avatar, right? So this is not meant to be I know everything. I am the ultimate voice. I don't think that for a second. So this is meant to be exploratory. So I want to welcome you to question, to feel, to explore the inner landscape of our lives together. This is about practice, not preach. It's about seeing where the mistakes lead us and elevating from there. And I'm definitely not here to sell you a crystal that will align your chakras with the stock market. Sorry, I don't have that magic. And yes, I'm bringing humor in because it helps me ground, especially when I'm talking about things that I feel really vulnerable with. So yes, I do bring humor into that. It's not meant to be dismissive. That's just how I cope. So some core principles that I'm operating from: curiosity over certainty. While certainty is wonderful, and when you know something, fantastic. The point being, though, is I'm approaching this more as a sincere scientist, where it's a question of, I wonder. I don't, I do not follow the model of the all knowing guru. I don't believe that the question should be, what should I believe? It's, again, I wonder. And the practice is about opening doors, not building walls. Again, all of these ideas, even the ones we cherish, I want us to hold lightly and be willing to, when that ideal is, or those ideas are no longer true, that we can question them and let them go. That's not to say all of them are necessarily going to need to be questioned. Okay, now I feel like I'm getting lost in my concerns over this being taken wrong. At this point, that's possible anywhere. So I always want to refer you back to your experience as the authority. I know I say this in every video, but I did want to just acknowledge that this is one of the core ethos that I'm operating from. You are the only expert on your own inner world. My role here is not to tell you how you feel or who you are, but to offer maps and tools that you can use to explore yourself. These are tools and maps that have helped me, so I'm offering them to you. Your inner wisdom is the final say. So as always, take what resonates from here, leave the rest. My feelings won't be hurt. I have an avatar. Its emotional range is limited to blink and slight smile, or slightly tired with her eyes droopy. So, okay. Next up is meditation in context. Okay, so this mindfulness is not meant to be an escape from the world. Downtime, 100%. Centering, absolutely. But this practice is done with our eyes open to the realities of suffering, injustice, and systemic oppression that we're all to some degree operating within or contributing to, right? And we seek to understand how our inner, oh, sorry about that. That's not an advert. That is just my system alerting me to getting it together. Getting that all over the place. Okay, so I want us to seek to understand how our inner weather is interacting with the social climate. Meditation is a tool for deepening our engagement with life, not from withdrawing from it to a cave, unless, of course, you have a really nice cave, in which case, feel free to share pictures. Okay, so here's where we come back to where I feel very vulnerable, holding space for blind spots, which I know I have a lot of. And this is where I'm learning on this journey as well, influenced by my specific background and privileges. And I'm incredibly grateful to all of the teachers that are guiding me in a multitude of ways. The teachers that help us acknowledge the limits of our own perspectives and to elevate beyond them and expand them to include more. And I'm committed to doing this with humility. So that means that I'm going to make mistakes. And I welcome loving corrections. And at this point, I'm practically inviting that to be pointed out. I always strive to credit the sources of wisdom that I'm learning from, which I do my best to at least drop in the description if I kind of get lost in my thought and forget to say it in the video or live. And then I just wanted to call out that I acknowledge my view is incomplete. If I ever speak without seeing you, I am committed to listening and learning how to hold a wider, more inclusive space. Connection is my goal. So I realize this sounds a little less fluid than I normally do. I do have a script here helping me to make sure that I'm staying on point because I tend to get lost and then repeat myself. So I'm trying to have some bullet points here to help guide me through this. I'm not doing this to achieve a perfect state of calm. I don't know that that's possible. I'm sure that there are people out there who have reached that, and I would love to reach that. Honestly, I'm just trying to find a place of self acceptance and to heal the suffering. That's really what I'm trying to do right now. So ultimately, I'm just trying to deepen connections to the truth of our own bodies, complexity of our hearts, and the interconnectedness of all things. I want to create a space where we all can feel more alive and that we can find a space where there's a depth that I feel is lacking just kind of universally. Now, I don't know if anybody else shares this. Feel free to correct me if you're not noticing this. This absolutely could be a me thing. I feel like I'm desperately craving a depth here that just feels absent from a lot of spaces. It feels too surface level and it's it's frustrating, and I want more compassionate conversations, more authentically ourselves within these spaces, not overhyped, not fluffed up or out or fake happiness or any of that, just authentic conversations. So I'm aiming for more gracefully human, not an enlightened master. So, and then something else I wanted to just add here is it's a necessary and non-negotiable disclaimer. This channel is a supplement to, not a substitute for professional healthcare. I'm not a doctor, not a therapist, not a licensed mental health professional. The ideas here are for exploration and education. Please consult with a qualified healthcare provider for any serious physical or mental health concerns. This channel is very pro science. Even if sometimes I misread, I will offer a correction. Um, and I will share, obviously, any of the articles, studies that I'm quoting or referencing. This is very pro therapy and pro doing what you need to be okay. If your mind is sending you serious distress signals, please call a professional. I am your quirky, overthinking meditation nerd, not your 911. This is an experiment, conversation, a shared commitment to showing up honesty and honestly and humbly for the messy, beautiful, and occasionally absurd work of being human. So I wanted to point these aspects out moving forward. Like I said, I've been really terrified to talk about the other issues that I really desperately want to talk about. I also want to speak about them with honor, respect, regard, elevation, and of course, humor, but empathy as well. So I wanted to point out the fact that I do get that there are going to be blind spots. So feel free to contribute any thoughts that you have to this, some things that you would like to see added. You're welcome here exactly as you are, especially if you're a little weird. In case you can't tell, that's kind of my kind of my go-to. Weirdness kind of helps me maintain some sort of stability in the madness of the world currently. So again, sorry I haven't been posting very regularly. I've been struggling, like I said, with whether or not this channel should even exist at this point. I don't merely want to offer meditations. Like I say, I want to speak about the weird aspects of meditation, the shady aspects of meditation, where I find my meditative practice is highlighted or challenged or reflected, and I find it in the weirdest of places. So moving forward, I'm going to be talking about it in very odd shapes, forms, colors, aspects, and it may seem again tangential to meditation, and that's kind of the point. So I hope you'll continue this journey with me and shout out anything in the comments that you feel should be highlighted, or anything I missed, or anything that you're grateful for. If maybe some of this elevates you or helps you in any way, feel free to shout that out as well. So, again, thank you for continuing on this journey with me, and I'm glad you showed up for this live. I will see you next time.